Cyclone fans doing the broadcast of Cyclone Athletics. It's Tuesday, October 7th, and we're here at Harlan Community High School Gym, where your Cyclones are getting ready to take on the Saints from St. Albert. It's a triangular here tonight. It's Harlan Community, St. Albert, and Glenwood. Each team has played Glenwood already, and they're on the road going home. It is now time for the nightcap, where your Harlan Community Cyclones are going to get ready to take on the Saints from St. Albert. Coming into tonight's contest, the Cyclones have an overall match record of 14 wins, 17 losses, and they are 2-6 in conference play. Meanwhile, St. Albert comes into this match with an overall record of 13 match wins, 13 match losses, and they are 4-2 in conference play. The Cyclones are led in hitting by Hope Preston with 117 kills on the season. Meanwhile, for St. Albert, they have Naomi Sherrill with 129, Brooklyn Rutledge with 199, and Sophia Denton with 128. Here's the starters. Molly Weiss is the setter. Number 7, Alexa Lenz, a middle hitter. Number 8, Sophia Denton, a middle hitter. Number 10, Brooklyn Rutledge, an outside hitter. Naomi Sherrill, number 12. And number 14, Jocelyn Boswell. And the libero, number 6, Grace Christensen. For the Cyclones, Ellery Nelson, number 9. Number 10, Kate Kesters, 5'7" senior. Number 11, Aubrey Wegner, 5'9" junior. Number 12, Carly Goshorn, 5'9" middle hitter. Number 14, Addie Barrett, a 5'9" sophomore. Number 15, Taylor Hazy, a 5'8" outside hitter and setter. And the libero, number 2, Carly Tornaton, a 5'2" senior.
Programming on HLTV Channel 15 has been brought to you by Pizza Ranch in Harlan, Do It Best Hardware, The Agency in Harlan,
Hamilton Financial Services, Fairway in Harlan, Hanson House Senior Living, Experience Life, Experience Hanson House,
Western Iowa Medical, providing outstanding service and the highest quality medical equipment and supplies in Western Iowa.
United Bank of Iowa, the difference is here, member FDIC.
Polly Jones Funeral Home, longtime supporter of Harlan Community Athletics and events.
Murtu Medical Center, committed to you, committed to our community.
Murtu Medical Center, physical therapy and rehab services.
Peterson Family Wellness Center and Lewis Family Aquatic Complex. Live well.
Patriots Choice Contracting, Harlan, Iowa, building for future generations.
Cyclone Scenic Chemical, build a bigger bin.
Dr. J's Family Eye Care, longtime supporter of Cyclone Sports in Harlan.
Family Service Community, SCSB.
Keast Auto Center, proudly serving Southwest Iowa for over 31 years.
Conducting Swampler is a proud supporter of the Harlan community, education, and student activities. We move your business forward.
Cyclone Lanes, great family entertainment, including bowling, sandwiches, and homemade buttercrust pizzas.
We'll get ready for the opening serve here. Each team getting their last-minute instructions from their huddle. And the referees will check the lineup cards and then be ready to go. 3 big hitters for St. Albert, and then their setter, Molly Wise, is 5'10", so we'll have to watch at her dumping at the net with some of her sets. The Cyclones are out of their huddle, ready for play. And it's St. Albert with the first serve. One thing I'll be keeping track of is just some unforced errors when you start looking at a team. There's the Cyclones getting the first point of set 1. Sometimes when you look back after a set and you look up how many unforced error points were given to your opponent, it's kind of easy to see why one team won over the other. So those are freebie points. Balls hit out of bounds into the net. Balls hitting the floor. And right now your Cyclones lead 1-0 here in set 1 of this Hawkeye 10 matchup. And there is Aubrey Wegner from the outside hitter position. It's a kill for her. And the Cyclones lead 2-0 with Taylor Hazy back at the service line. There's a little overpass, and the Cyclones are right there for it. St. Albert pushes the ball over. Cyclones in system, and it's going to be a little bit of a roll shot by Wegner. There's a nice block at the net, but they're going to say that number 14, Addie Barrett, was in the net, giving the point to St. Albert. Number 12, Naomi Sherrill at the service line. Back set to Wegner. Wegner hits one cross court, out of bounds, back-to-back, unforced error for the Cyclones. And things are tied up at 2 apiece in set number 1. Sherrill with her second serve of the rotation. Ball gets up into the rafters, and it's Hope Preston with the cross-court kill, and Hope Preston gives Harlan Community the lead back at 3-2. Avery Manns into the lineup now for the Cyclones, and at the service line. Free ball over, and that one's going to hit the floor. And that's what we're talking about with some unforced errors. Is that was just a free ball over by St. Albert, and it hits the floor on the Cyclone side of the net. That's going to tie things up at 3 apiece. Cyclones in system. Taylor Hayes is going to push it over to Ellery Nelson. Now Rutledge has it blocked. And a nice block there by the Cyclones. It looked like that was Hope Preston getting the block. And the Cyclones get the point, and now the lead 4-3. And somehow the kind of checking to make sure the Cyclones are in the proper rotation as Addie Barrett rotates back to serve for the Cyclones. And there's one touched on the attack by the Cyclones and then goes out of bounds, so we'll tie things up at 4 apiece. Again, this is a conference matchup, best of 5. And we're in set number 1. Hope Preston had her attack blocked, and they're going to go right back over to the outside and a tip at the net. The Cyclone defense can't keep that off the ground, and it's a St. Albert point and lead 5-4. Back set to Preston, and Preston is able to find a void in the St. Albert defense. And the Cyclones tie things back up at 5 apiece here in set number 1. Kate Kester's with the serve. Cross-court kill attempt. There was a touch. That was Sophia Denton. (6-5) St. Albert with the lead. Taylor Hazy hits one off the block and out of bounds. Last touch by St. Albert. And it's a Cyclone point, and we're tied at 6. Aubrey Wegner rotates back into the lineup for Harlan Community. Ellery Nelson with the serve. And a block at the net by the Cyclones. It was number 8, Sophia Denton, the junior, who had her attack blocked, and the Cyclones now lead 7-6. There's number 12, Naomi Sherrill, with the kill. And we're tied up at 7. Number 4, Molly Wise, their senior setter, serving. A little bit of a roll shot over by St. Albert. Taylor Hazy just pushes one over, and then there's a battle at the net. And they're going to say that that was number 12, Naomi Sherrill, in the net. So the point will go to Harlan Community as they take a 1-point lead, 8-7. Carly Tornaton serving for the Cyclones. A little back set and attack. Well, that was number 8, Sophia Denton, with the cross-court kill. And it's tied 8 apiece. The 6th tie here early in set number 1 with number 6, Grace Christensen, serving. Aubrey Wegner putting a good swing on it there. Cyclones, Kate Kesters is going to get it to Aubrey Wegner. A block at the net by St. Albert. Free ball over by the Cyclones. They're going to go outside, and a cross-court kill is good by Naomi Sherrill. That's going to give St. Albert now the lead at 9-8. Cyclones in system. Kesters is going to short set Addie Barron. At the net, there was a little bit of a tip as the set was a little bit outside the antenna. A collision out there with some Harlan Cyclone players, which then allows the ball to hit the ground. The point goes to St. Albert, and now they lead by 2, 10-8. Wegner with the tip. And there's going to be an overpass. And that's Taylor Hazy timing it well, as that overpass was kind of like a set for Hazy on the Cyclone side of the net, and she hammered it down for a Cyclone point. And the Cyclones are back to within 1, 10-9. Little back set from Wise to 12, Naomi Sherrill for the kill. 11-9 Saints. And Sherrill rotates back to serve. Hope Preston from the right side with a nice attack. And now Rutledge is going to hammer one down from the outside hitter position. Rutledge now over 200 kills on the season. Gives the Saints now a 3-point lead at 12-9. There's going to be an ace serve as Sherrill drove that serve deep to the back row, and the Cyclones serve receive couldn't handle that one. And it's 13-9. Cyclones trail by 4. And there's another ace serve, and I don't think Coach Amber Brown's going to let things get too much further away in terms of a point differential before using a timeout, as the Cyclones had it the lead not too long ago, and there was almost an ace serve. That serve receive was almost going out of bounds, and it was Rutledge trying to push it down. I think she would have let it go, would have went out of bounds, but the Cyclones get the point there, and it's 14-10, and the Cyclones break the momentum that St. Albert had going. We're going to go back to Rutledge. She has her attack blocked off of Barrington Preston, and it goes out of bounds. Point to St. Albert, 15-10, the Saints lead. Number 5, Lily Denton serving. A cross-court attack by Hope Preston. And the Cyclone leading attacker gets the point for Harlan Community. It's 15-11. Cyclones within 4. Eddie Barrett now to serve for the Cyclones. And there's an unforced error point as that one goes right into the net. 16-11, St. Albert. Alexa Lenz, the junior, serving. Hope Preston. There's a little back set there from Taylor Hazy, and got to a little bit too far for Preston, the left-hander, so she ended up having to hit it with her right hand, and ends up being a point for St. Albert, 17-11. St. Albert with the lead. Preston with a little roll shot at the net. Free ball over. Cyclones in system. Short set to Goshorn. Kept in play by St. Albert. Molly Wise gets it over for a free ball. Cyclones again. And there's going to be a back row. That was Avery Manns just pushing it over. Outside attack to Rutledge. And Rutledge hammers it down the line for a St. Albert point, 18-11. And Coach Hammer Brown is going to take a timeout and try and...
How do you top Pizza Ranch's legendary cheesy ranch sticks? Any way you want. Get a load of these. Our new loaded cheesy ranch sticks are now topped with an extra layer of flavor. Skillet crust, melty cheese, herbs and spices, and up to 2 of your favorite toppings. They're the ultimate appetizer on the buffet or on the go. Don't you just love that new menu item smell? Pizza Ranch, everyone's favorite buffet.
You've worked hard to achieve success. You deserve a financial advisor that works as hard for you. At Hamilton Financial Services, a financial advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services, LLC, we have the qualifications and the experience to help navigate your complex financial needs. Whether it's investment management, tax strategies, or legacy planning, we can work with you to help grow and preserve what you've worked so hard to achieve. Contact Dylan Hamilton today at 712-784-5500.
How do you game? Do you shoot your shot? Do you go for the goal? Or throw the high cheese? Whatever you do, our goal at Murtu Physical Therapy is to keep you in the game. Murtu Physical Therapy. Game on.
Alexa Lenz at the service line, and we're whistled ready for play. Hazy's going to set Goshorn. Ball goes up into the rafters on the dig from St. Albert and ricochets back down on the floor, giving the Cyclones the point. And they trail 18-12. With Kate Kesters getting back to the service line. There's a ace serve as number 12, Naomi Sherrill. Kind of shanked the serve receive. 18-13 Saints. It's going to be kind of a free ball over, and oh my goodness. Cyclones, that was Carly Gosh, I think, caught in the net. It was going to be a free ball over. And the Cyclones get called in the net on the free ball over. So the point goes to St. Albert, 19-13. And then there's a service error on the Saints, giving the Cyclones a point, 19-14. Cheryl with the cross-court attack. There's Aubrey Wegner hitting it down the line and off the St. Albert block. And Harlan Community is within 4 at 19-15. Block there by the Cyclones. And now one's tipped over the block. That's number 12, Naomi Sherrill. Seeing the block at the net, so decides just to tip it over the top of the block and scoring a point for the Saints, and it's 20-15. Molly Wise pushes it over for the Saints, and now a free ball over by the Cyclones. Saints in system, and there's an attack by number 8, Sophia Denton, one of their leading hitters, with the kill, and it's 21-15 Saints. Be a roll shot over by Hazy. In system are the Saints, and one's tipped at the net. That's number 14, Jocelyn Boswell. And it goes over and hits the floor. Saints point, 22-15, and Coach Amber Brown wants to take her second timeout of set number 1. And we want to take this opportunity to thank some fine sponsors for making this live broadcast come to you, those being Pizza Ranch in Harlan, United Bank of Iowa, Western Iowa Medical, Conductix Wampler, Murtu Medical Center, KNOD Radio, Cyclone Lanes, Keast Auto Center, Shelby County State Bank, Hanson House Senior Living, Polly Jones Funeral Home, Murtu Medical Center, Physical Therapy and Rehab Services, Fairway in Harlan, Do It Best Hardware, The Agency Insurance, Dr. J's Family Eye Care, Cyclone Seed and Chemical, Hamilton Financial Services, Patriots Choice Contracting, and the Peterson Family Wellness Center and Lewis Family Aquatic Complex. So out of the timeout, it is St. Albert with the serve and the lead, 22-15, with Molly Wise back serving. Aubrey Wegner hits one down, and Aubrey Wegner with the kill gives the Cyclones life. 22-16, Cyclones trail by 6. Carly Tornaton serving for Harlan Community. And there was a dump at the net. The setter just kind of tipped over for St. Albert and caught the Cyclones off guard and couldn't keep that ball in the air. Point goes to St. Albert, 23-16, 7-point lead for St. Albert. Free ball over by the Cyclones. St. Albert now is just going to have to free ball it over. Kate Kesters gets it to Aubrey Wegner. It was going out of bounds, and number 6, Grace Christensen, put her hands up, made contact, and then put her hands on her head like, why did I touch that? That was going out of bounds. So the Cyclones take the point, 23-17, 6-point deficit for Harlan Community. Taylor Hazy with the serve. Free ball over. Cyclones got to do something here. Back set to Hope Preston. And it's going to be 4 touches as the Cyclones didn't get it over the net. (24-17). Set point for St. Albert. Little back set to Addie Barrett. There's a block and goes out of bounds. So the point goes to the Cyclones, 24-18. Avery Mann serves one over for the Cyclones. Rutledge hits one blocked by Hope Preston. And Molly Wise sets one too far for Rutledge to get at as it was behind the antenna, and the Cyclones will get the point, 24-19. Cyclones within 5. Avery Mann sends one long, and that's out of bounds. Service error on the Cyclones, and that's going to give set number 1 to St. Albert by a score of 25-19. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with set number 2. You're watching Cyclone Volleyball on HLTV, Channel 15.
If you grill it, he will come.
Hey.
Is this heaven?
Nope. It's fairway.
At Polly Jones Funeral Home, compassion is our foundation. As a proud family-owned and operated business, we understand that during times of loss, empathy and understanding make all the difference. Our dedicated professionals, rooted in family values, are here to answer your calls and address your questions and concerns. With 3 locations in Harlan, Avoca, and Denison, we're available whenever and wherever you need us to provide customized services for every family we serve. Polly Jones Funeral Home, proudly serving our communities for over 90 years.
Welcome back, Cyclone fans. Ready for set number 2. Cyclones were defeated in set 1 by St. Albert by a score of 25-19. And now we're ready for set 2 action. Again, best 3 out of 5 here tonight. And St. Albert leads 1-0 as Carly Tornaton sends one over. Free ball over by St. Albert. Cyclones in system. Just kind of tipped over by Addie Barrett. And there's one that's on the line. And a kill by St. Albert. And the Saints lead 1-0. Number 12, Naomi Sherrill. 5'9" junior outside hitter at the service line. Kate Kester's going to set up Aubrey Wegner. She hammers one into the hands of number 4, Molly Wise, their setter. That's a kill and point for Wegner and the Cyclones, and things are tied up at 1 apiece. Taylor Hazy sends one across the net, overpass by St. Albert, and then the Cyclones overpass it. A little sloppy here in this little run. And then the ball goes over the net, and it's number 7, Lenz, and 10, Rutledge, kind of looking at each other. And the ball hits the ground. Unforced error point given up by St. Albert, and the Cyclones will take that as they now lead 2-1. Service error by Hazy gives St. Albert the point, and we're tied up at 2 apiece in set number 2. And number 5, Lily Denton, the defensive specialist, rotates back to serve for the Saints. Hope Preston hits one wide out of bounds. giving the point to St. Albert as they lead 3-2. Denton with her second serve of the rotation. And that hits the net and falls on their side of the court. So the Cyclones get the point, and we're tied up at 3 apiece. Avery Manns rotates into the lineup for Harlan Community and back to the service line. Be a little roll shot over by St. Albert. Back set to Hope Preston. Nice dig there by number 5, Denton. Cyclones back at it. They're going to go outside to Ellery Nelson. Rutledge is going to bump set it back. Wise pushes it back to the deep corner. Cyclones cover that, and it's Addie Barrett that hits it wide out of bounds. 4-3 St. Albert. Alexa Lenz serving for the Saints. Addie Barrett puts her hands up trying to get that. Needs to let the back row get that. Avery Manns was there to dig that and ends up being an unforced error on the Cyclones, and it's 5-3 St. Albert. Hope Preston, and that's going to get hit into the tape. The top of the net doesn't get over. Be a hitting error on the Cyclones. And it's 6-3 St. Albert. Tip at the net there by Barrett gives the Cyclones the point. Cyclones trail 6-4. Barrett rotates back to serve. St. Albert's cross-court attack is good. Kind of rolls down the side of the net. That was Sophia Denton, one of their top 3 hitters with the point. Seven for St. Albert. And Goshorn with the kill. Nice attack there by number 12, Carly Goshorn. Cyclones are back within 2 at 7-5. Kate Kester's at the service line, and at the middle there, that was an attack by number 8, Sophia Denton, and she hits it into the block and net. And the Cyclones come away with the point, and they're within 1 at 7-6. That's number 12, Naomi Sherrill, getting the kill. 8-6, St. Albert with the lead. Molly Wise at the service line. A little bit of a slide move there. Goshorn couldn't get a whole lot on it, but the ball's still in play. Taylor Hazy tips one at the net. Free ball over by St. Albert. Outside attack now by Nelson, and Molly Wise put an arm out and deflected that out of bounds, giving the Cyclones with a point. 8-7 St. Albert by 1. Ellery Nelson to serve. Outside attack by Sherrill for the Saints. Gets the point. 9-7 St. Albert. Number 6, Grace Christensen, the libero, back to serve for St. Albert. And that one hit the tape and changed its path and goes out of bounds. Service error on St. Albert, giving Harlan Community the point. And they're within one at 9-8. With Carly Tornaton serving. Molly Wise back sets, and it's blocked at the net. That was number 12, Naomi Sherrill, that was just going to push it across the net, and Aubrey Wegner timed that well. And the block and point gives the Cyclones a tie match here at 9 apiece. It's a hitting error. Long and wide, out of bounds. And the Cyclones have battled back and have taken now a 1-point lead at 10-9. Taylor Hazy's attack is blocked at the net. And then it was Carly Tornaton trying to keep it alive, and her hit goes out of bounds, and that's going to tie things up at 10 apiece here in set number 2. Sherrill with the serve for St. Albert. A little bit of an overpass, and it's a tip at the net by Barrett, and Rutledge with the kill. Their leading attacker gets the point. 11-10 St. Albert. Kate Kester sets it to Aubrey Wegner, and her roll shot goes into the net. Enforced error on the Cyclones. And St. Albert now grabs a 2-point lead at 12-10. Back set to Hazy, and her attack goes into the net. 7 unforced error points given up by the Cyclones, and it's 13-10. Sherrill still at the service line for St. Albert. Free ball over by the Cyclones. They're going to go outside to Rutledge. And her attack goes off the Cyclone block and out of bounds. And not too long ago, we were tied up at 10 apiece, and it's St. Albert on a 4-point run, 14-10, here in set number 2. Wegner and Aubrey Wegner on the attack. Goes off the St. Albert block and straight down on the Saint side of the floor, giving Harlan Community the point. And they're within 3 at 14-11. And there's an ace serve. Number 7, Alexa Lenz, just kind of got stymied there, and she watched it come across the net, and it fell right in front of her. And the Cyclones are within 4 at 14, or excuse me, we're within 2 at 14-12. Sherrill on the, or excuse me, Rutledge on the attack, and there was a block at the net. Cyclones get the point and trail 14-13. There's a service error on Hazy, hitting it long out of bounds. Another unforced error for the Cyclones. That's unforced error number 8. As St. Albert grabs a 15-13 lead. Hazy's going to back set Addie Barrett, and that one is in. Nice little slide move there by Barrett, and her attack is good. And pulls the Cyclones within 1 at 15-14. Avery Mann serves one. And there's an ace serve as number 12, Naomi Sherrill, can't come up with that dig. That ace serve by Mann ties things up at 15 apiece. We were tied up a while ago at 10-10. And now they meet again at 15 apiece. Rutledge has her attack blocked. Then she hits it right back over, and it was Hope Preston that just kind of put an arm on it and got to the back row area of St. Albert that wasn't being covered up. And the Cyclones now have the lead, 16-15. They haven't led since it was back at, well, they haven't led, I guess, in this set. And there's a timeout by St. Albert as the Cyclones have grabbed a 17-15 lead. And now it's St. Albert's turn to try and break the momentum.
Harlan Do It Best is your best source for friendly service, expert advice, and innovative products. Whether you need to build it, paint it, fix it, or grill it, we have it all. Our full-service paint department, utilizing Valspar paints, can match any color for your interior and exterior painting projects. Check out our new Diablo tool aisle for all power tool accessories needed for your home improvements. Make grilling easy with our full selection of grills and grilling supplies. Harlan Do It Best, conveniently located at 1810 Chatburn Avenue in Harlan.
At United Bank of Iowa, the difference is here. Conveniently located at the corner of Highway 59 and Pine Street in Harlan, you'll always find a smiling face to greet you and help you with all your banking needs. We offer competitive rates on deposits and loans, and the latest in technology with our online and mobile products. Come and find out for yourself why the difference is here at United Bank of Iowa. Member FDIC.
So out of the timeout, 17-15 Cyclones. And Avery Manns with the serve. Rutledge roll shot over, and now it's going to be Ellery Nelson that just tips it over at the net. A lot of tipping going on here. And there's another tip. Each team trying to get into system, and Rutledge, she tips one. Finally, Hope Preston gets a swing on one, but it goes into the net, hitting air on the Cyclones. And it's 17-16. Cyclones by one. And it's number 7, Alexa Lenz, going back to the service line for the Saints. Set to Ellery Nelson. She sends one to the corner on that cross-court attack. And the Saints can't come up with the dig as it goes out of bounds. And Harlan Community regains a 2-point lead at 18-16. Addie Barrett to serve. A little bit of an overpass. Hope Preston tips it over for the Cyclones. And someone's in the net. Carly Goshorn, do they call it, or Hope Preston, one or the other? I think it's Hope Preston. They're saying number 6 was in the net. That gives St. Albert the point, but the Cyclones lead by 1. 18-17. Back set to Preston. Preston hammers one cross court, and then on the overpass, it's Carly Goshorn that tips it down for a Cyclone point. And Harlan Community back ahead by 2, 19-17. And that's wide, out of bounds. And the Cyclones now lead by 3, 20-17. Cyclones got to close this second set out here and tie things up at one set apiece. Taylor Hazy winds up and sends it over for the Cyclones. Kate Kessler's going to set up Ellery Nelson, and that is long out of bounds. 20-18, Cyclones lead by 2. And there's a serve into the net, and the whole net system came down. So not only a point for St. Albert, but we're going to have a little break in the action as we'll have to set up new poles and new net. We'll be back with some more of the broadcast as soon as we get the net system working. Again, you're watching Cyclone Volleyball on HLTV, Channel 15.
Hanson House Senior Living. Experience life, experience Hanson House.
Okay, welcome back, Cyclone fans. We have the net repaired and ready to go. So here's what we got. We're late into set number 2 with the score Harlan Community 21, St. Albert 18. Hillary Nelson's at the service line for the Cyclones. So the net broke. They had to change out the nets, and we're ready to finish out set number 2. And that one goes into the net, and that's what we were talking about. Hopefully the break in play didn't stop the momentum there that the Cyclones had going. So it's 21-19. Harlan Community. Taylor Hazy with the attack. It's going to be a free ball over by St. Albert. Now up to Aubrey Wegner, and her attack goes off the St. Albert block out of bounds. 22-19 Cyclones. Carly Tornaton to serve for Harlan Community. Tip at the net by Wegner. Free ball over by St. Albert. Cyclones in system here. They're going to short set Barrett. She tips it over. And that's number 14, Jocelyn Boswell, that hits it right in the middle of the net, giving the Cyclones the point. 23-19, Cyclones by 4. Tornaton serve. Wise with the back set. And it's number 12, Naomi Sherrill with the kill and point. 23-20 Cyclones. Wegner with the kill. It's going to, or attack anyway. It's going to be a free ball over by St. Albert. Now Aubrey Wegner again goes off the block, and then it's Ellery Nelson that wasn't able to keep that one in play. And it's 23 Cyclones, 21 Saints. And a timeout is called by Harlan Community as the Cyclones were up 23-19, and there's a little mini run going on here by St. Albert to get within 2 at 23-21, and Coach Amber Brown decides to call a timeout, break some of the momentum that St. Albert has going as the Cyclones are 2 points away from a set 2 win. And number 12, Naomi Sherrill to serve. Outside attack by Wegner, and that one goes into the net for a hitting error on Harlan Community, and it's 23 for the Cyclones, 22 for the Saints. Going to be a free ball over by the Cyclones. Rutledge hits one down and good. And we're tied up at 23 apiece. So the Cyclones led 23-19. And St. Albert is on a 4-point run to tie things up at 23 all in set number 2. Cyclones are trying to own set number 2 here to tie things up at 1 apiece. St. Albert's trying to take set number 2 so they can go up 2 sets to none in this best of 5. So out of the timeout, it's a tie set here at 23-23. Cyclones are out of timeout. St. Albert has 1 left for this set. It's number 12, Naomi Sherrill, at the service line. Wise is going to get it over. And the Cyclones do a good job of hustling there, but that was number 10, Brooklyn Rutledge, just tipping it at the net over the block. And now the Cyclones are down 24-23. Kesters is going to set up Wegner, and Wegner's attack is down and good for a point. And we're tied at 24 all, so we're going extra innings here as you have to get to 25, win by 2, so we're going to go beyond that for sure. And Taylor Hazy rotates back to serve for the Cyclones, and she serves them right in the net. (25-24) St. Albert. Hope Preston with a roll shot. St. Albert in system. They go to Rutledge. That's blocked at the net by Preston. Rutledge again tips one, and that is good down the line. And the Cyclones get beat in set 2, 26-24. We're going to take a quick break and be back with third set action. You're watching Cyclone Volleyball on HLTV, Channel 15.
Listen to 105.3 KNOD. KNOD covers local, state, and world news. KNOD covers your favorite local high school sports, the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Chicago Cubs. KNOD covers Brownfield Ag News programs. KNOD plays the hits you want to hear from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. KNOD has great advertising rates for your business. Call 800-876-KNOD for more info. 105.3 KNOD.
Cyclone Lanes in Harlan is your total family fun entertainment center. Known for our homemade buttercrust pizza, we also offer great burgers and a variety of other sandwiches and sides. all available to eat in or carry out. Cyclone Lanes is available for birthday parties, company outings, and church youth groups. Laser bowling starts on Friday and Saturday evenings at 8 p.m. We invite you to come enjoy some fun family entertainment and great food at Cyclone Lanes in Harlan.
Welcome back, Cyclone fans, as we're ready for set number 3 here from Harlan Community High School gym. Cyclones down 2-0 here to St. Albert this evening. Ball goes outside to number 12, Naomi Sherrill. And St. Albert scores the first point of set number 3. Number 6, Grace Christensen serving for the Saints. Molly Wise is going to set up Cheryl. She tips it, goes off the Cyclone block, out of bounds. St. Albert leads 2-0. There's an ace serve. Ace serve by Christensen, and St. Albert goes up 3-0. And another ace serve. Hillary Nelson, they're going after her in the back row. 4-0. Off of 2 ace serves by Grace Christensen. We'll see if they go right back after that deep middle again, and they do. There's an overpass. St. Albert just free balls it over. Tip at the net by Cyclones, and then the Saints. And now Aubrey Wegner is going to put a swing on it, and that is long, out of bounds. 5-0 St. Albert here in set 3. Grace Christensen still at the service line for St. Albert, and there's an overpass, and it's 6-0. And Coach Brown's wanting to take a timeout, and we'll see if they come out of the timeout and adjust a little bit at their serve receive in the back row. They just keep going deep middle, and the Cyclones have not been able to get the ball in system up to the pass the ball up to the front row setter. So we'll see out of the timeout here. It's 6-0 St. Albert. And as of right now, they're gonna bring back Aubrey Wegner, protect kind of Ellery Nelson there in the back. And they serve right there again. There's an overpass by the Cyclones. And a cross-court kill by number 12, Naomi Sherrill. And it's 7-0 St. Albert. Cyclones got to get in system here. We'll see if they can get one of these serves passed up to Kate Kesters in that front row, the setter. So Harlan Community can go on the offensive attack. And that one's, thank you very much, number 6, Grace Christensen. Serves one long, out of bounds, giving the Cyclones a point that St. Albert leads 7-1. Taylor Hazy sends one over, and it's an ace serve for the Cyclones. Hope Preston with the cross-court kill. Goes outside. And that is number 12, Cheryl, on the attack. And now Hope Preston, but her attack goes into the net. 8-2 is the score. Short set from Hazy to Barrington. Barrett's attack is good, giving the Cyclones the point. 8-3, St. Albert. Rutledge hammers one, but it's Carly Tornaton getting the dig. And then the Cyclones kind of got lulled asleep over there on that side, and a floater just kind of came over and kind of caught Taylor Hazy off guard, and it falls down for a St. Albert point, and they lead 9-3. Back set to Preston, and Hope Preston from the right side gets the point. 9-4. Cyclones trail by 5. Free ball over by St. Albert. Preston tips it over, and now Rutledge, she just kind of hits a roll shot over. Back set to Goshorn. Both teams kind of getting the ball over with a lot of tips and roll shots, and then Molly Wise, the setter, dumps one over into the Campfire Donut, the open spot there in the middle, giving St. Albert the point. 10-4. Cyclones. Nelson sends one over. Hope Preston kind of mistimes that, and the ball falls on the Cyclone side of the net, and it's a 7-point St. Albert lead, 11-4. Rutledge on the cross-court attack. Tornaton can't come up with the dig, and it's an 8-point St. Albert lead, 12-4 here in set 3. Hazy is going to back set Preston. Preston puts a big swing on it, partially blocked. Molly Wise tries dumping it over from the setter position. Nelson tips one at the net. It's going to be a free ball over, and that was Avery Manns hitting it wide out of bounds. 13-4. Cyclones trail by 9. Hope Preston with a nice swing from Hope Preston gets the kill. 13-5, St. Albert with the lead. Kate Kester is back at the service line. Cross-court attack there by number 8, Sophia Denton. A little bit of a miscommunication. Denton finally gets it over. Goshorn for the Cyclones at the net. Nice dig by Avery Manns. Roll shot over by Ellery Nelson. And then finally a kill by Brooklyn Rutledge. Number 10 for St. Albert. 14-5. 9-point St. Albert lead. And number 11, Alyssa Shepard, 5'2", sophomore defensive specialist, rotates in to serve. And that was number 5, Lily Denton, having the ball go right through her hands there, giving the point to the Cyclones. 14-6, 8-point lead for St. Albert. Ellery Nelson sends one over for the Cyclones. Nice block at the net by this Harlan community. They're going to go outside, and the cross-court kill is good by number 12, Naomi Sherrill, the junior. And it's 15-6. Cyclones trail by 9 as number 4, Molly Wise, the senior setter, rotates back to serve for the Saints. Kate Kesters gets it to Wegner. She tips it over for the Cyclones. Roll shot over by Sherrill. Roll shot over now by Hazy. And then finally a swing at the ball by number 8, Sophia Denton, the junior for St. Albert. And it's 16-6. And Coach Amber Brown wants to take a timeout as the Cyclones go down by 10. And we're going to take a timeout with them. You're watching Cyclone Volleyball on HLTV, Channel 15.
Family, service, community. At SCSB, we put our values front and center in everything we do. That means offering incentives and education to help young people start strong financial habits early, supporting our local ag producers and small businesses with the financing they need to succeed, and giving help where and when the community needs it, because we want you to know that we're there for you when you need it. Start your financial future with SCSB, your financial partner for every stage of life.
At Keast Auto Center, it's our mission to be the automotive home of Ford, Chevy, and GMC drivers in Southwest Iowa. Conveniently located just off Highway 59 in Harlan, we provide a vast selection of new and used vehicles, exceptional car care, and always deliver customer service with a smile. As your hometown auto dealer, we strive to make every transaction an easy one. Call or stop by today to get in touch with a member of our team and let us know how we can serve you today. Keast Auto Center, proudly serving Southwest Iowa for over 31 years.
Welcome back, Cyclone fans. Out of the timeout, the score is 16 for St. Albert, 6 for the Cyclones. Molly Wise serving for St. Albert. And St. Albert can't keep it alive, and the Cyclones get the point. 16-7 is the score. Carly Tornaton serves one over, and that one's in. Ace serve for Tornaton. 16-8. St. Albert with the lead. Molly Wise is going to set up Sherrill. Sherrill hammers one, but the Cyclones come right back with Wegner on the cross-court attack. Back to Sherrill, and her little roll shot is dug. Nice job by Wegner keeping things alive. Finally, a little roll shot over by Tornaton. And then at the net, the attack is blocked by the Cyclones. 16-9. Cyclones trail by 7. And that one's in as well. St. Albert was calling out, out, out. And it drops in for an ace serve. The Cyclones that were down by 10 are now only down 6, 16-10. Aubrey Wegner off the St. Albert block. Ricochets out of bounds, and the Cyclones got it rolling here as they now trail 16-11. Down by 5. Once it was 16-6. And the Cyclones have gone on a little bit of a run here to make it 16-11. Here's one ricochets off the rafters. St. Albert just free balls it over. The Cyclones got to get in system and get something here. Wagner's going to hammer one. Dug in the back row. Nice job here. And finally a point was won as Sophia Denton for St. Albert was able to get it on the ground on the Cyclone side of the net. They now lead 17-11. Grace Christensen back at the service line. And I was just going to say, she went after Ellery Nelson the last time she was at the service line, and there's a target at that middle back area again as Grace Christensen went on kind of a serving spree earlier. We'll see if the Cyclones do anything different with their serve receive. Got to look out with the antenna. Kate Kester's nice job getting the ball inside the antenna and across the net. And that one is long out of bounds, giving the Cyclones the point, 18-12. Going to be a free ball over by the Cyclones. And Molly Wise just tries dumping one, but it's Aubrey Wegner right there for it. And then another tip at the net, back and forth. And there's one into the net and almost one under the net. That was Jocelyn Boswell. And the Cyclones are within 5 at 18-13. Hope Preston, again, on those back sets, it just kind of goes a little bit too far, and the left-hander has to end up using her right hand as the set goes beyond her. And then it's St. Albert with the hammer and goes off the Cyclone block out of bounds. And it's 19-13, St. Albert by 6. Back set to Wegner. And there's the little bit of a difference. That's Wegner right-handed there on that back set from Hazy. Just gets outside there where a right-handed hitter and get an attack on the ball, whereas Hope Preston, left-hander, sometimes it gets just a little bit too far for her. 19-14, St. Albert. And they're going to go out to Rutledge. And there's a block at the net, but Rutledge gets it over. And there's Hope Preston again, the left-hander from the right side. Gets a point. It's 19-15. Harlan Community, once down by 10, has worked themselves back into this. Only down 4. Be a roll shot over for the Cyclones. Rutledge tips it at the net, and Addie Barrett can't keep that one alive. Point St. Albert, it's 20-15. Addie Wicks has an attack that's blocked at the net and comes down on the Cyclone side of the court for the point. 21-15 St. Albert. And a service error on number 5, Lily Denton. Keeps the Cyclones within 5 at 21-16. Addie Barrett serves one over. And that's Lily Denton on the serve receive. And it goes out of bounds. Cyclones within 4, 21-17. Molly Wise gets it to Rutledge, and it's Goshorn and Preston can't keep it alive on the block. 22-17, St. Albert by 5. Nice attack there by Preston, but a block at the net gives St. Albert the point, 23-17. And on the serve receive, the Cyclones send it over the net and out of bounds, and we're at set and match point as St. Albert now leads 24-17. The tip at the net kept alive by the Cyclones will be a roll shot over by Wicks. And then at the net, the Cyclones are able to keep it alive. They're going to go to Rutledge. And she just kind of puts a fist up there and fists it over. And that's going to bring it to the end of set 3 in the match. St. Albert wins set number 3, 25-17. So we'll kind of recap things here. It was a triangular where the Cyclones were defeated by Glenwood. Then Glenwood played St. Albert. And then in the nightcap, it was the Cyclones against St. Albert. And it was St. Albert winning set number 1, 25-19. They won set number 2, 26-24. And won set number 3, 25-17. It will increase St. Albert's record to 14-13 on the season, 5-2 in conference play. They'll drop the Cyclones to 14-18 on the season and 2-7 in conference play. It's been Jonathan North on the camera, Bill Mueller here with the play-by-play. Everyone watching Cyclone Volleyball on HLTV, Channel 15, where it's always great to be a Cyclone.